Good morning and Husein Datoo to all of you. There is a Japanese proverb that says, better than 1,000 days of diligent study is one day spent in the company of a great teacher. By the time our students graduate from Form 4 or Form 6, they would have spent in excess of 10,000 hours going through at least 30 different teachers. That is why almost everyone has a story or two to tell about the way they have been affected and touched by a teacher. I too am an alumni of this great institution, having graduated in 2001 from Form 6. This great institution has been very much part of my journey to where I am today. It is very dear to my heart. And some of the teachers that have accompanied me in this journey are very much in this attendance today, and I'm humbled, truly humbled to be in front of them. I am who I am today because of a great teacher. After initially struggling in Olympia Primary School, I found my way back and landed in Mrs. Jaffer's math classes. Mrs. Jaffer believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. 20 years on, I can still spot her kind smile and rimmed glasses in the sea of faces today. But what is it that makes a teacher truly great? Do the next slide, please. What is it that makes a teacher truly great? Is it the way they talk? Is it the way they walk? Is it the way they teach? Or is it the way they connect with students? The work that teachers do happens throughout the year. They don't do the work on a one specific day. We don't need a set particular day to appreciate our teachers. Our teachers need to be appreciated throughout the year. That's where they do most of their work. That is why we're introducing a new rewards and recognition program that will allow us to recognize and appreciate the work of the teachers and all the staff throughout the year. Mr. Mudassir, our HR manager, will walk us through this new program in a bit. But coming back to a great teacher and the connection that they form with the students, James Comer says, no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington says, all learning is understanding relationships. Because once a student and a teacher form this connection and this special bond, they open the doors of their hearts and minds, and they're then in a state that they can achieve or receive this information. Learning then becomes easier. You'll find students are better engaged, motivated, and you get the full buy-in into the learning classroom. It becomes easier to even manage our classrooms. In a short while, we'll watch a video about a connection that a teacher and a student establish and the effect that it has on the lives of both of them.
stood in front of her fifth grade class on the first day of school. She told the children an untruth. Like most teachers, she looked at her students and said that she loved them all the same. However, that was impossible because there in the front row, slumped in his seat, was a little boy named Teddy Stallion. Miss Thompson had watched Teddy the year before and noticed that he didn't play well with other children, that his clothes were messy, and that he constantly needed a bath. And Teddy could be unpleasant. It got to the point where Miss Thompson would actually take delight in marking his papers with a broad red pen, making bold X's, and then putting a big F at the top of his papers. At the school where Miss Thompson taught, she was required to review each child's past records, and she put Teddy's off until the last. However, when she reviewed his file, she was in for a surprise. Teddy's first grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is a bright child with a ready laugh. He does his work neatly and has good manners. He is such a joy to be around." His second grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is an excellent student, well liked by his classmates, but he is troubled because his mother has a terminal illness, and life at home must be a struggle." His third grade teacher wrote, "His mother's death has been hard on him. He tries to do his best, but his father doesn't show much interest, and his home life will soon affect him if some steps aren't taken." Teddy's fourth grade teacher wrote, "Teddy is withdrawn and doesn't show much interest in school. He doesn't have many friends, and he sometimes sleeps in class." By now, Miss Thompson realized the problem, and she was ashamed of herself. She felt even worse when her students brought her Christmas presents, wrapped in beautiful ribbons and bright paper, except for Teddy's. His present was clumsily wrapped in heavy brown paper that he got from the grocery bag. Miss Thompson took pains to open it in the middle of the other presents. Some of the students started to laugh when she found a rhinestone bracelet with some of the stones missing in a bottle that was 1/4 full of perfume, but she stifled the children's laughter when she explained how pretty the bracelet was, putting it on and dabbing some of the perfume on her wrist. Teddy Stallion stayed after school that day, just long enough to say, "Miss Thompson, today you smell just like my mom used to." After the children left, she cried for at least an hour. On that very day, she quit teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic. Instead, she began to teach children. Miss Thompson paid particular attention to Teddy. As she worked with him, his mind began to come alive. The more she encouraged him, the faster he responded. By the end of the year, Teddy had become one of the smartest children in the class. And, despite her lie that she would love all the children the same, Teddy became one of her teacher's pets. A year later, she found a note on her door from Teddy, telling her that she was the best teacher he ever had in his whole life. 6 years went by before she got another note from Teddy. He then wrote that he had finished high school 3rd in his class, and she was still the best teacher he ever had in his whole life. 4 years after that, she got another letter, saying that while things had been tough at times, he'd stayed in school. He'd stuck with it and would soon graduate from college college with the highest of honors. Again, he assured Miss Thompson that she was still the best and favorite teacher he'd ever had. Then 4 more years passed, and yet another letter came. After he got his bachelor's degree, he had decided to go a little further. She was still the best and favorite teacher he'd ever had. But now his name was a little longer. The letter was signed Peter F. Stallard, M.D. The story does not end here. There was yet another letter that spring. Teddy said he'd met this girl and was going to be married. He explained that his father had died a couple of years ago, and he was wondering if Miss Thompson might agree to sit at the wedding in the place that was usually reserved for the mother of the groom. Of course, Miss Thompson did, and guess what? She wore that bracelet, the one with several rhinestones missing. Moreover, she made sure she was wearing the perfume that Teddy remembered his mother wearing on their last Christmas together. They hugged each other, and Dr. Stallard whispered in Miss Thompson's ear, "Thank you for believing in me. Thank you so much for making me feel important and showing me that I could make a difference." Miss Thompson, with tears in her eyes, whispered back. She said, "Teddy, you have it all wrong. You were the one who taught me that I could make a difference. I didn't know how to teach until I met you." You can never tell what type of impact you may have on another's life by your actions or lack of action. Please consider this fact in your venture through life, and just try to make a difference in someone else's life today.
Students had this sort of connection, but it's not practical, is it? The teachers would often complain that they've been given such a long and elaborate curriculum that they have to cover throughout the year. So the fundamental importance when they step into the class becomes the delivery of that content. Because if they don't complete the content delivery on time, the heads of departments, the principals, the directors would be on their throat, saying, "Are you on track to complete the year?" And rightly so. So what do we do? On one side we have the connection, on the other side we have the content. How do we solve this dilemma? The content is what facilitates the flow of the content. It's the connection that facilitates the flow of the content. So how do we circumvent this challenge? Well, we change the game. We change the framework in which education is conducted. We change the parameters of education. In line with this new framework, we have to redefine the role of a teacher. Teachers have to start becoming more of a mentor, a guide, and a coach. And with this new framework, my dear teachers, year after year, you're asked to come into the class, write a very similar content on the blackboard for a very different set of students. Plus, chalk and blackboard is not nice. It poses and obvious health hazards to the life of our teachers, and teachers are very dear to us. My dear teachers, gone are the days when you go home with chalk-dusty clothes, having spent the entirety of your days writing on the blackboard because we are sending the black books to the museum. The smart boards are in. We are also introducing flipped classrooms. Dr. John is going to talk about it later in detail. But in flipped classrooms, students would watch short 5 to 7 minute videos at home to get an understanding of the content. They would come to class, be seated in groups of 4 to 6, and when the teacher would move from table to table and give that coaching and become that guide. This, my friends, will allow more time, free up the time that the teacher spent to write on the blackboards, will allow more time for the students to come and interact with the students, and will give time so that connection and that bonding can happen, so that the content delivery is easier and more reciprocal for the students. In line with this new framework and the new redefined role of a teacher, the top 3 C's that we'd like to work with for 2016. We already looked at connection. Now let's look at creativity. Creativity means the process of having original ideas that add value. Albert Einstein says, the supreme art of the teacher is to awaken the joy in creative expression and knowledge. Professor Abdul Kalam, the previous president of India, says, creativity is the key to success in the future. And primary education is where teachers can bring creativity at that level. Let's look at creativity. A 1 plus 1. A very simple question that anyone can answer. What would be the answer to 1 plus 1? It's got to be 2. It was always 2. It will always be 2. Any other answer than a 2 will fetch a big red X, and rightly so. There was a study done by Sir Ken Robinson. He's the UK's chair of economic and education reforms. They did a study on divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is a capacity, an essential capacity for creativity. Divergent thinking means the ability to see a lot of different answers to a question. Or put it another way, to see a lot of different interpretations to a single question. A study of a divergent thinking would be the number of uses of a paperclip that we come up with. Paperclip, hold things together, hold papers together. A standard person would come up with 10 to 15 uses of a paperclip. Somebody who's really good at it can come up with 200 uses. But open the paperclip, make a hook, tie it to the end of a fishing rod, and fish a cod with it. It's thinking divergently. So Sir Ken Robinson and his team, they did this research in a book called Breakpoint and Beyond, where they looked at the divergent abilities of kindergarten students, 3 to 5-year-olds. 3 to 5-year-olds, 98% of them scored at genius level. They all had this capability to think laterally, divergently, in a non-standard way. But this study was longitudinal. So the same set of students were asked to repeat this test 5 years later. This time, only 32% scored, and they could think in a non-standard way. They did this study again, 5 years on 13 and 15-year-olds, and you can see a trend coming up here. This time only 10% could think in a non-standard way. They repeated this study again 10 years on 25-year-olds. This time only 2%. for non-standard thinking. We see two analyses from this study. One, we're all blessed and born with the ability to think in a non-standard, lateral, divergent way. We're all born with it. The 3 to 5-year-olds show us this. Two, as we go through our education system, we lose this capability. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't we get better as we get educated? And this is not the education system only here. This study, mind you, was done in UK, so this trend is throughout the world. Is it that we stifle this creativity in our learning, in our education institution, that we ask students to come up with standard answers that are in the back of the textbook? Let's come back to our problem of 1 plus 1, and let's now all think in a divergent, non-linear way. And I'd like to hear from you. What do you think is the answer to a 1 plus 1? 2? Still going to be there 2. But anything other than 2. And think of a different interpretation to a question. Let's put it in a more practical. Can we have 2 objects, cup and saucer? 1?
1 plus 1 is 3 always in business.
1 plus 1 is?
3.
1 plus 1 is 3 in business?
Yes.
Perfect. Can you explain, sir? I'm putting in a spot.
If you are making any business, if you are making profit, 1 plus 1 is not business. So 1 plus 1 must be greater or equal to 3.
Any other answers? So we have 2 and 3. Can you take one cup and saucer? 11? So Mahmoud Bhai sees a little differently the question. He imaginatively wipes away the plus and sees 1 and 1 is 11. I have a 3 and 5-year-old. 1 plus 1, he will just take away the plus sign, doesn't know what plus means and says 11. Yes, sir?
It's 1.
It's 1. How is it 1, sir?
Oh, a lady and a gentleman get married, they form 1.
1 plus 1 of a union, of the sanctity of a marriage. Beautiful answer, sir. Any other answers? Yes?
Continuing with the temperature. 1 degree plus 1 degree cannot make 2 degrees.
So 1 degree and 1 degree will still make 1 degree and 1 degree. Right? So 1 plus 1 could still mean 1 plus 1. Could it be any other answer?
It's less than 3.
Sorry?
1 plus 1 is equal to less than 3.
Less than 3, yeah, why not?
And 1 plus 1 is equal to more than 1.
More than 1, true. True. Mathematical concepts tell us those answers. Let's have a cup and a saucer. If you add a cup and a saucer, there's a 1 cup and a 1 saucer. If you add them up, what do you get?
1.
A 1 set of a cup and a saucer. Like Mr. Juma explained, 1 plus 1 can still mean 1. But in a 1 plus 1 and a cup and a saucer, do we see a 0? 0 glasses. 0 glasses. There are no glasses in this. So, see, thinking divergently and non-linearly, how many answers did we come up with? So many possible, and I'm sure there are so many answers. My dear teachers, if you give an exam to a child, and you see him answer a question that is not as per the textbook, before giving him a big red X, how about we ask him why they think differently, why they answer differently? We might be in for a surprise. We might have a genius in our hands. So teachers, the challenge is to bring this creativity in our daily life. To conduct our sessions in our teaching classes so that creativity is focused, creativity is implemented. Above all, creativity is rewarded, not standard answers. Socrates says, the famous Greek philosopher, education is the kindling of a flame, not the filling of a vessel. William Arthur Ward says, the mediocre teacher tells The good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, the great teacher inspires. When you kindle that flame in a child of curiosity, when the desire, the thirst of knowledge burns within him, he'll go and seek answers. You don't have to give him all the answers. Just give him the tools to get the answers. Let's move on. Next we come to collaboration. And that's the last thing. Our classes, when we give away assessments to students, we give them an exam paper, ask them questions. They have to answer the questions as per the textbook. The questions have to be standard. They are in the textbook. And they can't look it up because that would be cheating. Well, my friends, you know what we call that in the real world, 21st century? Collaboration. In my work, and I'm sure all of you, we all access Google. What do we do in Google? We're looking for answers. Isn't Google a world textbook that has all the knowledge, or majority of it? Shouldn't our schooling systems be preparing our children for the real world? There was a study done, a research on the CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and they were asked to name the single most important factor in their success. Collaboration was the mostly cited answer. So, if collaboration is the key essential 21st century, and our education system is supposed to prepare our students to step out into the 21st century and be successful, are we really teaching them, giving them the tools for the 21st century? Because some famous businessmen, like Steve Jobs, the Apple founder and CEO, says, great things in business are never done by one person. They are done by a team of people in a collaborative setting. Ken Robinson has two quotes. One is part of education is learning, and what drives learning is curiosity and collaboration. So Ken Robinson, further on, says, most great learning happens in groups, and collaboration is the stuff of groups. So how do we bring these three C's, connection, creativity, and collaboration, to our education system? Through PBI, project-based and inquiry learning. Because we are preparing students for the real world and the challenges that exist. Project-based learning focuses on real-world issues, and students have to come up with solutions that pertain to the existing problems of the real world. It allows them to implement the three C's, collaboration, creativity, connection. The projects extend multiple disciplines that brings the holism in our education. It allows the teacher to assess the child more of as a person when he expresses his views in a collaboration. When we go into the real world, we work with other people. In schooling system, our students need to work with others. But there's a major pitfall that we shouldn't fall under. We give projects to our students. But the project standards are set so high that parents start doing the projects for their children. And this is a major complaint the board has received. If the children submit their own work, obviously the standard is low, and we reward that. We don't reward the lower standard of the work that children submit. But if a parent were to do the work of a project for a child, we reward that higher. Let's find a way to circumvent this, because if we are rewarding the work of a child that's been handed in by the parent, we're really awarding the parent, not the child. And we are here for the children, not the parents. Because Bloom's taxonomy, the thing that you learn most and you know better than me, because it's part of the education system, we have to prepare our children for the real world. When they step out, they come creatively with a solution, they evaluate the situation, they analyze, because Mr. Google really takes care of the bottom part of the Bloom's taxonomy. Finally, I would like to end by a short video presentation that will hopefully inspire and energize everybody. Thank you.